Okay, I was talking about this having a function. I was talking about the scopes of a variable. A variable has few different scopes here in this C program language. Hopefully you can hear me right. Probably. Yes. My mic is messing up with me here. Just has we have the feature called noise cancellation and the mic volumes just get decreased suddenly. Okay, doesn't matter. Let's go to here and mhm. So these are the like all the variable types that we have here in this C program language. Okay, I'll send all the references, all the links to the group, to my WhatsApp group, to the WhatsApp group. Okay, you can refer this, and these are the format specifier. Do you remember I told you that the everything has a format specifier. So as here in the print scheme, if I need to print an integer, I have to mention that as D. You can see the int, and it's the format specifier is D. That's how we specify that the inputting format is an integer. That's how the compiler knows, oh my God, this is an integer. If I just specify the format as percentage mark D, and if I just input a float number, the compiler thinks, oh my God, this person just input an integer number and it just prints the integer number of float. That's why it just gave me a wrong number. You can see I have this float x, and if what I'm going to do is what I'm just going to do is with d and print x. This is the format specifier of integer, and I'm inputting a float number. Let's run it. Let's see. Oh my god, this gives an error. Sorry. What's this? One implicit declaration of function printf. Do you mean printf? Remove this. Remove this for now. Okay. You see that x is it's not a value. X. This is not the value of x, but I need to print the value of x. But it's not printing the value of x. It's because it's printing the integer. The compiler thinks this x is an integer because I defined the format specifier as d that specifies that we tell the compiler that this is an integer. This is not, but this is technically not an integer. This is a float number. Okay, so let's go back to this format specifier page. You see the the float is specified as percentage mark f. Percentage mark f. Let's go. Let's go to the compiler and let's say the percentage mark f. You see, now we can find the float number, real value of x. Okay, you can simply, I'll just give all these references, all these links to you, and then you can just play. You can go from up to down, and you can do whatever you want, and you can go ahead and do some a little bit of coding, and you can use this specify. You can use all these variable types. You can simply see that there are a few, data types. I should mention that in C program language, we have less number of data types. But in other program languages like Java, C Sharp, JavaScript, we have a bunch of different program languages, sorry, different data types. Okay, what I was talking about this variable types, the variable scopes, and we define these as scopes of variable types. I was talking about this local variable. Let's say I have this repeat. I'm just gonna return void. Void is a return type that is not returning anything. In this function, let's say my fun is the my function name. Remember I told you that this is the returning data type, and this is the function name or the method name. And inside the curly braces, we don't have anything. I'm going to tell you why we have this curly brace here. Okay, this is required to have a curly brace because It's something necessary. We might put something inside the curly brace in a later lesson. In this lesson, we're not going to do it. And inside my function, I have a print, and I'm going to print something. I'm going to print this age. E age. Okay. What I'm doing is calling this function. I told you that functions are something that is callable. We can call the function. What I'm going to do is I call this function. I call the function. I'm going to run this. Oh my god, it's giving me an error. It's a function of my function. Let's say I need to take this to the other side. Okay, you can see now. It's because I should say that to access this function, let's say that I'm accessing this function inside this function, and then how the compiler actually compiles file is from up to down. Compiler first, when the compiler gets the source code, it just gets the first line and then second line, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and to the down. And in the down point, we have in the bottom line we have the my function call. We call this function. If I specify this function below this main function, below the line that the function is being called, it's not going to work out because the compiler doesn't know that there is a function existing as my func. If I mention the function below this, below here, down below here, see the error is different. Error is different. My func, it doesn't recognize the function as my func. Doesn't recognize the code doesn't know. Oh my god, what the hell, in line number 10 we don't have any function called my func because the compiler doesn't know that. If I specify this one, remove it from here, okay, you can see right there. If I run this, we don't get this error here. If I run this, we're not getting that error anymore, but we still have another something that is a error. We still have another error. What it says age error, age undeclared. That means age is not here. We don't have age here in this. That means because in this variable we cannot access this age variable that is defined in another variable here. It's different because the age variable is only scoped inside these curly braces and it can be accessed. It can be accessed outside of the curly braces. So instead, we can have this variable here, and it should work. It's not working because it also should have here. See, we have two. Now we have two variables. One, two. Now we have two variables. So remove this function. Now we have two variables. You can see two age variables. But why do you have to? Why do we have to deal with two variables when we can deal with one variable? That's how this is called a local variable. And in that case, when we need to deal one variable in multiple function, there it comes a global variable. So how to define a global variable? Let me show you. I make sure that this is a local variable, okay? This is a local variable by default. Okay. And you can see this is how our local variable is defined. And in a global variable, you can see how a global variable is defined. It's not in a curly brace. You can see this. If I remove this from here, and I'm going to remove this also, I'm going to add this right here. What happens now? I'm going to run this. Oh, we got this. Again, there is no any error, but this is a statement. This is a global variable. A global means what? What does it mean? In real life, what does global means? Global is not something that is specified into a one single component. Okay, and this is a global variable. That means it can be accessed in any function. It's global to the file. It's global to the file. Age can be accessed inside here, inside in this function, and here inside this main function also. That's a global variable. If I put this here, if I cut this from here and paste it here, this is going to be a local variable because this can only be accessed inside these curly braces, only inside this method body. All right, revert it. This is global variable. You can see here in this example, we have two functions called function one, function two, and uh, those two functions print in the x value, print in x here, and then the output, you can see the output has come like function 1 20, function 2 20, and we have the static variable. What is a static variable? That's interesting. That is an interesting part. A static variable is something that is not that's only defined at once. Let's say I have this function 22, and we have the function that is as age plus n. Right. What I'm doing is I'm getting I'm saying that the value of age is 22. What I'm doing is to the age value, to the current value of age, I'm adding 10 more, and I'm just gonna print this. Okay, I'm just removing all this code from the main block, from the main function. I'm calling this function from here, the main function. You can say 32. It just prints 32. If I say even this 3 times, wait, I need to say that this is real life. It says I'm gonna each time this 8 is called, it's gonna print in a new line. That's why if I don't have slash n, everything's gonna be in something that we can't even figure out what the order is. You see 32, 32, 30. And if I say that this is slash n and run this, it's well ordered, and we can simply read that well. And I have called this function 3 times. That's why it's getting called 3 times. And as you can see, the age is not being incremented as it's 32, 32. And if I need to add age, if I need to increment 10 each time the program is called, as you can see here, it's always static 30, but the output becomes different. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and static it. See, it's static. Thank you. See what happens to the output. You see what happens. Can you just try to think what happens here? What happens is age is the value of 22 is assigned to age only in the first stage, only in the first call. And then each time the age is being added by the 10 is being added to age, the age keeps the value in its memory, and whenever it runs again, age just has the previous value, that is the age whatever that is. Let's say the first from in the 12th line, when I call this, age initializes its value to 22, and it just adds 10 more to the value, and then prints it. It's 32. And now the age value is 32, age current value. In the second round, it goes age is 32. Then starting the method, starting the function, the age value is 32. And this line is not gonna execute, it's not gonna be executed because the age is already executed, and we have this age 32. So what happens here is like 32 is 10. This is what's gonna happen. 32 plus 10, and it's gonna be assigned to age again. It's getting 42. It's getting 42. So now the age is 42. When it just runs the 14th line, the age is 42. Age is 42. That is the static, that's the power of static variables. Simple. මේක එකපාරට complex වේව කට්ටියට. හරිද? static variable එක කියන්නේ නිකන් හරිම අමාරුයි. static variable එක කියන්නේ මේ වගේ තමයි. line number 5 එකේ මම static variable එක define කරලා තියෙන age කියලා. එතකොට මෙතනදි වෙන්නේ මේ variable එක මේ function එක මේ මම මේ කරලා තියෙන මේ function එක call කරන තුන් පාරක්. තුන් පාරක් call කරද්දී call කරන හැම පාරම මේ curly brace එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන code එක නිතරම execute වෙනවා. call කරන්නේ 20 පාරක් call කරා 20 පාරක්ම මේ curly brace එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන code එක. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ function එකේ body එක. function එකේ body එක නිතරම call වෙනවා. නිතර නිරන්තරයෙන් call වෙනවා. ඒ call වෙන වාරයක් පාසා මේ හැමදේම execute වෙනවා. අර විදිහටම execute වෙනවා. මෙතන static කියන එකෙන් කරන්නේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම දෙයක්. හිතන්න මෙන්න මේ වගේ සරල සිදුවීමක්. මේක ඊට වඩා complex වෙනවා. මම සරලව explain කරන්නම්. static එකෙන් කරන්නේ මේ පළවෙනි පාර age කියලා variable එකක් හදනවා. පළවෙනි පාර run කරලා age කියලා variable එකක් හදලා ඒකට අදාළ memory location එකක ඒක ගබඩා කරලා තියාගන්න. සහ ඒකට මුලින්ම දෙන value එක එයා ගබඩා කරලා තියාගන්න. හරිද? පළවෙනි පාර run කරා. ඊට පස්සේ මම line number 6 එකේදී කරන්නේ age වල තියෙන value එකට 10ක් එකතු කරනවා. 10ක් එකතු කරලා age වලටම ආපහු එක දානවා. age වල තියෙන 22යි 22 plus 10 32යි 32 age එකට සමාන කරනවා. කියන්නේ age එක ඊළඟට 32යි. ඒක print වෙනවා line number 8 එකේදී. ඊට පස්සේ මම ආපහු 13 වෙනි line ඒ function එකම call කරද්දී ඔන්න දැන් ආපහු ඒ function එක උඩ execute වෙනවා. 3 යනවා ඊට පස්සේ 4 5 යනවා. පස්වෙනි line එකේ ඔන්න ආපහු මොකක් හරි රෙද්දක් තියෙන static කියලා දාලා ඔන්න මෙහෙම කියලා කම්පැනි static එක දැක්ක ගමන් කියනවා හරි. එතකොට age එක 22කට සමාන කරන්නේ නැහැ. අර memory එකේ අන්තිමට age එකට තිබ්බ value එක අරගෙන age එකට දානවා. එතකොට අන්තිමටම තිබ්බේ value එක 32 නේ. age එකට 32යි. age එක 22 නෙවෙයි 32යි. memory එකෙන් තමයි ගන්නෙ. අරගෙන දාන්න. හරි. age එක already නැති වුණොත් තමයි memory එකේ එයා 22 කියලා assign කරන්නේ. memory එකේ already memory එකේ age එකට කලින් value එකක් තිබ්බනම් ඒ value එක තමයි අතන assign වෙන්නේ. හරිද? ඊළඟ කට්ටිය නිකන් complex වෙලා ගියා static variables කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා. Hi guys. Do you understand this one? Line number 5, what's happening inside the static variables? What's really happening? What's happening in line number 5? What's happening? How the variable is stored? Let me tell that in English also. What happens in line number 5 is whenever my function is always being called. The first time the function is called, it just goes to line number 5 and just looks for the variables in a memory. Whenever variable is defined, it just gets a piece of a memory location from the memory. So age has a memory location itself. In its static case, when the compiler just compiles the file from the beginning to the down, and the compiler looks, oh my god, I've just found a variable called age that is in static. The compiler looks for the memory. Is there a variable called age? Oh, if it finds a variable that is age, and if it has a value, what the compiler does is it's not assigning 22 as the first value, it's just assigning that previous value to the age. That's how it happens. That's the power of static variables. It just gets the previous value. Usually what happens in a code, if a variable is defined inside these brackets, whenever the function is ended, I mean like after the 8, the function in line number 9, the function is ending, and all the memory is being vanished from the memory. But if I say this is a static variable, it's not the value of this age and the variable is not being vanished. It just keeps its memory location with the value itself. And whenever the function is being called again, it just gets the previous value and assign that to the variable. That's what happens in a static variable. Hopefully you understood it. I don't know. This is a little bit complex. You might be having some complexities when understanding this one because if this is your first time understanding language, this might be a little bit complex. Is everyone okay? Did you understand? You can ask questions if you have any. Ask anyone got any questions? Let me know if you don't understand it. Okay, the auto is not really something that is required to know. Other is automatic is something that is it's all the local variables are always automatic by default. You can simply read this and understand this one. This one's not a big thing. It's okay. Okay, you don't want to know about this. Let's say that local variables are automatic variables by default. Like it just behaves like local variables. I told you earlier about these local variables, and it's the same as automatic variables are same as local variables. There's no much difference. The external variables. I should tell you about these external variables. It's like register variables and external. Okay. Hmm. Let me tell you about these constant variables. What is a constant? Constant variable is something, when I say that a variable is constant, let's see, I'm defining this as const. I'm doing this, I'm defining this as const, and the value cannot be changed. If I run this, I get an error. Why do I get an error? Because a constant variable is something that is initializes at the first stage. This is the first stage of age variable. The value 22 is its age. It's sorry. It's gonna come in this. The value 22 is the first value that's been assigned to variable age, and that cannot be changed. If the const is simple in simple terms, if a variable is defined as a constant, then variables after the first initialization of the variable, what does it mean? The first initialization is the first time that the age has been equal to a number, and after that stage, the age cannot be again overridden by another value. Say when I run this, it just prints 2020 because I run this twice. If I'm going to do age is 20, there's an error because this is a read-only variable. This is read-only. We cannot write a value to this. That is a constant variable. We just cannot write anything. We cannot overwrite this value. It's always 22. We cannot change it. That's a constant. That's a power of a constant variable. Did you understand this constant? Do you understand the constant? Yes. You don't. Professor, Ahmed, did you understand it? Okay. All right. So this is a constant variable, and we have two more variables. One is a register variable. Register variable is something that is, you can see how a register variable is defined. Just like we did in the static variables, global static variables and constant variables, we define the register keyword before the variable type, and then the variable becomes a register variable. Register variable is something that gets a memory from the CPU register instead of getting the storage from the RAM. It's not getting memory from RAM. It's just getting memory from CPU's register. It's like a uh, it's simple. It's but it just gets advanced if you dig into this register variables. We can learn more about this in a later day. The external variables also I'll discuss in another day because it just I need to teach you how to write another file and export that and sorry import that import another file from to here in my program like this. You can see that there's this my file is a file and it has some external variables and we can access that variable from our main file. That's something that need to show you when creating different files, when creating different program files, and do that. And I should tell you, I should teach you with an IDE. We can do that here on this online compiler. Okay, so let's do that in another day. So we will create multiple C files and we will get its values. We will get access its functions and we'll access its variables and a lot of other things from an external source. Um, that's the basic part. It's very basic. I didn't go to any advanced because it's our first day. Did you understand what I told you? And if you have any questions, just tell me. Because it's always almost been a 2 hours. It's almost been 2 hours, and it's time to end the session. And if you have any questions, you can just raise the questions. Any question, guys? You have any questions, people? තියෙනවද මේක? මඤ්ඤං වුණාද මේ ටිකට? Guys, මේකේ constant variable එකක් සහ static variable කියන එක අදහස කියද ඔලුවට? Constant variable එක කියන්නේ ඒක එකපාරයි initialize කරන්න බෑ. ඒ කියන්නේ value එකට value එකක් sorry ඒ variable එකට value එක දාන්න පුළුවන් එකම එකපාරයි. එතනින් එහාට නැවත වතාවක් ඒක ඒ variable එකට value එකක් assign කරන්න බෑ. ඒක assign කරන්න යද්දිම error එකක් පයින්න මේ තියෙනවාට බලන්න පුළුවන් error එක මේ වගේ error එකක් පයින්නවා. Constant variable එක කියන්නේ ඒක. සහ මේකේ තව අපිට තියෙනවා තව variable types දෙකක්. External variables සහ register variable. External variable එක කියන්නේ වෙන file එකක හදන source code එකක තියෙන variable එකක් අපිට තව file එකකින් access කරන්න. ඒක තමයි external variable එක කියන්නේ. ඒ ගැන චුට්ටක් මම වෙන file එකක් හදන ගමන් කියන්න ඕන. ඒක වෙන දවසක අපි කරමු. Register variables කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි RAM එකේ memory එක තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට use කරන්නේ memory variable එකක memory storage එක විදියට. ඒක automatic එක C# එකෙන් කරන sorry C වලින් කරන දෙයක් ඒක. මේ එතකොට මේ අපිට පුළුවන් ඒක අපිට ඕන නම් අපිට පුළුවන් ඒක define කරන CPU register එකෙන්. දන්නවා CPU එකේ කොටස් 3-4ක් තියෙනවා. 3ක් තමයි තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ register කියන කොටසේ තියෙන memory එක තමයි අපි access කරන්නේ. register variables වල. සමහර තැන්වල පොඩි පොඩි හේතු තියෙන හැම කරන්න. හරි. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට memory optimization ඊට පස්සේ program එකේ performance වැඩි කරනවා වගේ දේවල් වලට අපිට use කරන්න පුළුවන්. අද නැති නේද ගොඩක් කානේ. okay. right. හරි මේ guys එනවා ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් කියන්න. ඔයාලා code blocks කියන software එක දාගන්න. code blocks මම links දාන්නම් group එකට. code blocks මේ තියෙන code blocks එක අපි downloads වලට ගිහලා download කරගන්න පුළුවන්. මම මේ links ටික දාන්නම්. සහ මෙන්න මේකේ තියෙන මේ geeks for geeks එකේ documentations පොඩ්ඩක් refer කරන්න. ඒකේ හොඳයි තියෙන ඒවා පොඩ්ඩක්. හොඳට advanced කියලා එයාලා explain කරලා තියෙනවා ඒකේ. චුට්ටක් බලන්න. මට මේක කියලා දෙද්දි පැටලෙයි ඈ. මට C# එක C ඔක්කොම පැටලෙනවා ගණන් ගන්න එපා. පැටලුණොත් මම ඒක හදන්නම්. මට පොඩ්ඩක් පැටලෙනවා කියද්දී. right. හරි නේද? ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද?